Welcome to SAT Prep Thursday. Today we're doing College Board SAT Practice Test number 7, Part 3. This is not a calculator approved section. Also, there's a file link in the description for this practice test. The equation above relates the number of minutes X Maria spends running each day and the number of minutes Y she spends biking each day. In the equation, what does the number 75 represent? So in both of these, we're talking about each day. Now, the question is, what does 75 represent? Well, that's going to be a total. So we're looking for a total of something. And the only one that starts with the idea of a total is C. So C is the answer. Which of the following is equivalent to 3 times x plus 5 minus 6? The first thing to do is to go ahead and get rid of these parentheses by distributing so that we get a 3x plus 15, but we have a minus 6 to come from that 15. So we have 3x plus 9, which means C is the answer. Which ordered pair xy satisfies the system of equations shown above? So we're going to do this by just simply substituting values in to see which works. So when x is negative 3 and y is 0, that would give me a negative 3 is equal to 0 minus 3. So in this case, it would work. What about here? If x is negative 3 and y is 0, then we'd have negative 3 over 2 plus 0 is equal to 6. And so A does not work. How about B? When x is 0 and y is 3, then I would have 0 is equal to 3 minus 3, which is 0, so yes, it works. When x is 0 and y is 3, 0 over 2 is 0 plus 2 times 3 is 6 is equal to 6, which means B is the answer, so we circle it. Which of the following complex numbers is equal to 5 plus 12i minus 9i squared minus 6i, for I is equal to negative 1? So starting out, when we know that I is equal to the square root of negative 1, that means that I squared is equal to negative 1, meaning that's 9 times negative 1, or a negative 9. Now let's get rid of all these parentheses. Negative times negative 9 is a positive 9. Negative times negative 6i is a positive 6i. Getting rid of these parentheses is easy because it all just copies down as it is. And now we combine like terms so that we get 14 plus 18i, meaning D is the answer. If f of x is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 3, all divided by x minus 1, what is f of negative 1? To solve this, we're simply going to substitute the value negative 1 in for x. So negative 1 squared is 1, and negative 1 times a negative 6 is a positive 6. We're left with the plus 3. Negative 1 minus 1 is a negative 2. So we wind up with a 10 over negative 2, which simplifies to negative 5, so A is the answer. A company that makes wildlife videos purchases camera equipment for $32,400. The equipment depreciates in value at a constant rate for 12 years, after which it is considered to have no monetary value. How much is the camera equipment worth 4 years after its purchase? So we're going to write a very simple equation starting out where we take 32,400 and make that equal to 12x. Now this is a y value and there's no b because at that point there would be 0. This means that its linear depreciation is $2,700 per year. So y would be equal to a negative 2,700 times x plus its original value of 32,400. We already know that x is 4. Negative 2,700 times 4, that is 10,800 that we will be subtracting from the 32,400, leaving us with $21,600, and so C is the answer. Which of the following is equivalent to the expression above? Now, looking at the answers, what I can notice is they turned them all into perfect squares, which does give me a little bit of a hint here. This means that x squared plus 6x, and I'm going to want a perfect square, which means half of 6, which is 3, squared. So I'm going to add 9 to that. But I also have this 4. Now, to keep this all the same, I'm going to wind up subtracting 9. These would wind up going away. Now, looking at this, this is is a perfect square. This is going to give me x plus 3 squared. Now, 4 minus 9 is going to give me a negative 5, meaning that B is the answer. Ken is working this summer as part of a crew on a farm. He earns $8 per hour for his first 10 hours he worked this week. Because of his performance, his crew leader raised his salary to $10 per hour for the rest of the week. Ken saves 90% of his earnings from each week. What is the least number of hours he must work the rest of the week to save at least $270? So let's start with this idea that we earned $8 an hour for 10 hours. That is going to be 8 times 10. Then they earned $10 an hour for the remaining hours, which means we have plus 10 times X, some unknown number of hours. Now, we want to save money, and the money that's going to be saved is 90%. So we're going to multiply that value by 0.9, and this is going to be greater than or equal to the amount of money they want to save, which is 270. In solving this, if I divide both sides by 0.9, 270 is going to become 300. This is going to leave me with 8 times 10, which is 80, and 10x. Moving 80 to the other side, I get 10x is greater than or equal to 220. So x must be greater than equal to 22, which is C. Marissa needs to hire at least 10 staff members for an upcoming project. The staff members will be made up of junior directors who will be paid $640 per week and senior directors who will be paid $880 per week. Her budget for paying the staff members is no more than $9,700 per week. She must hire at least 3 junior directors and at least 1 senior director. Which of the following systems of inequalities represents the condition described if X is the number of junior directors and Y is the number of senior directors? So we know we need at least 10 staff members. This means that both X plus Y must be greater than equal to 10. So if the answers don't contain an X plus Y is greater than or equal to 10, it's not an answer. This eliminates A as an answer and eliminates D. She must hire at least 3 junior directors. And let's remember that X represents junior directors. This means that X must be greater than or equal to 3. So I need X is greater than or equal to 3, but this one is wrong, which means C cannot be the answer, so B is the answer. In the equation above, A, B, C, and D are constants. If the equation has roots -1, -3, and 5, which of the following is a factor of ax cubed plus bx plus cx plus d? Now, I understand that what we're looking at up here is the zero product rule. This means that I have 3 binomials that are going to be multiplied and it could equal 0. It also means each one of these could equal 0. So if -1 is an answer, then one of those could be x plus 1. And I do see an x plus 1. One of those, if x is -3, would be x plus 3, and I do not see an x plus 3. And if one of those is 5, then I would deal with an x minus 5, and there's no x minus 5, leaving B as the answer. The expression x to the -2, y to the 1/2, all over x to the 1/3, y to the -1, where x is greater than 1 and y is greater than 1, is equivalent to which of the following? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this to get rid of these negative exponents. That means that x to the -2 goes into the denominator as x squared, and y to the -1 goes into the denominator as simply y. Now y to the 1/2 power is the square root of y, and y to the 1/3 power, x to the 1/3 power is the cube root of x. Right at this point, I can already see that D is the answer. The function f is defined by f of x is equal to x plus 3 times x plus 1. The graph of f in the xy plane is a parabola. Which of the following intervals contains the x coordinate of the vertices of the graph of f? Well, if we consider, again, the zero product rule, that would mean that x plus 3 would give us an x is negative 3 as an answer. So if it does not contain a negative 3, I get to eliminate it as a possibility. Now, another possibility is that x plus 1 gives us a position where x is negative 1. Now, this is an interesting thing because if x is negative 1 here and it's negative 3 here, then I know it's occurring between negative 3 and negative 1. Now, this one says it occurs between negative 3 and negative 4, which is outside of this region, where negative 3 to 1, although 1 is over here, this is within this region. So B is the answer. Which of the following expressions is equivalent to x squared minus 2x minus 5, all divided by x minus 3? So here we're going to wind up doing a little bit of long division. So we're going to take x squared minus 2x minus 5 and divide that by x minus 3. Now, x times x will give us the x squared, and x times negative 3, a negative 3x. I'm going to subtract this, which means changing the signs, eliminating those x's to where I can get a positive x minus 5. That means if I multiply 1 by x, I would get x minus 3. Change all of those signs so that the x's eliminate, and I wind up with a negative 2. So if I do not have an x plus 1, it gets eliminated from the pool of answers. Now, what to do with this negative 2? Well, this is going to become a minus 2 over what I'm dividing, which is x minus 3, giving us D as the answer. A shipping service restricts the dimensions of boxes it will ship to a certain type of service. The restriction states that for boxes shaped like a rectangular prism, the sum of the perimeter of the base of the boxes and the height of the box cannot exceed 130 inches. The perimeter of the base is determined by using the width and length of the box. If the box has a height of 60 inches and its length is 2.5 times its width, which inequality shows the allowable width x in inches of the box? So let's start with some information that we do know. We have a height of 60 and a length equal to 2.5 times the width. Let's start by thinking about what's going on where I have 2 times the length plus 2 times the width plus its height, but I already know that the length is 2 times the width. That means I have 2 times 2.5 times the width plus 2 times the width plus 60, which is the height. This gives me 5w plus 2w, or 7w plus 60. All of this is going to be set equal to the maximum of 130, meaning 7w is equal to 130 minus 60, which is 70. So w is equal to 10. This is the maximum that I can deal with. And in this case, 10 appears as the maximum in only one location. So A is the answer. The expression 1/3 x squared minus 2 can be rewritten as 1/3 times x minus k times x plus k, where k is a positive constant. What is the value of k? What I would like to do to start out is get rid of this inconvenient number in front of the x squared. I'm just going to multiply this all by 3 so that I can see a nice x squared minus 6. This is going to allow me to rewrite it because it is now a perfect square as x plus the square root of 6 and x minus the square root of 6. Now, this is not the original equation to start with. So if I were to go ahead and wind up multiplying everything by 1/3, I now have the original expression. But more important, what I have is the square root of 6 is what shows up in both locations. So D is the answer. If 2x plus 8 was equal to 16, what is the value of x plus 4? I like how they do this, where they regularly ask you questions that do have an additional step added to it. Like here we find that x is 4, but that means having to come over here and say 4 plus 4 is 8, which is the answer. In the figure above, MQ is equal to RN. Intersect at point P. NP is equal to QP, and MP is equal to PR. What is the measure in degrees of angle QMR? Disregard the degree symbol when gridding your answer. So let's start with some very simple things here. NP is equal to QP means I can go ahead and mark those as the same. MP is equal to PR means I can mark these as the same. Now these are vertical angles, meaning this is 60 degrees. Means I have an angle side angle triangle congruence, so angle N is 70 degrees. Now because P and 60 make 180 degrees, then angle P is equal to 120 degrees, which means its vertical angle is 120 degrees. This is an isosceles triangle, which means both of these angles are going to be equal to each other. So I can say that 180 minus 120 would give me 60 degrees, but that's 60 degrees for both of these added together. So 60 divided by 2 would give me 30 degrees as the answer. The number of radians in a 720 degree angle can be written as A pi, where A is a constant. What is the value of A? This starts out with the idea of just being able to say that 2 pi in radians is going to be 360 degrees, or just simply being able to recognize 2 pi is 360 degrees. So this means that 4 pi is equal to 720 degrees. So that means that A would be 4. The graph of a line in an xy plane passes through the point 1, 4 and crosses the x-axis at the point 2, 0. The line crosses the y-axis at the point 0, b. What is the value of b? So I think the easiest way to deal with this is simply by drawing a graph. It crosses the x-axis at 2, 0, so 1, 2, and there is a point. It passes through the point 1, 4, so I can say 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this means that I'm looking at a slope m of negative 4 over 1, or negative 4. If I went to use the y is mx plus b format, then y, being 0 in this spot, is equal to the slope negative 4 times 2 plus b. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And moving it to the other side will give us a positive 8 for b. So 8 is the answer. The expression above can be written in the form ay squared plus b, where a and b are constants. What is the value of a plus b? Let's give ourselves a little bit of a head start here by getting rid of some parentheses. So 10 times 10y squared is 100y squared. And 10 times negative 110 is a negative 1100. Now I'm going to rewrite this first term or expression without the parentheses so that I have 100y squared plus 7532. Now I have a plus 100y squared minus 1100, and by combining like terms, I'm going to get 200y squared plus 6432. Now we want to know what a plus b is. This is the a term and this is the b term, which means if I add 200 to 6432 and get 6632, then I have the answer.